everyone, welcome to episode 108 of Formidable Opponents, a show that pits three people who have known each other virtually their entire lives in a series of conversations as we argue what is best in a variety of fun, engaging, and critical pop culture topics we all debate about. I'm Randall, and with me as always, Bob and Joseph, and this week's topic is Best 90s Love Song. In the 90s, we saw the emergence of merit-based songwriters and performers. Raw emotions and powerful vocalists took center stage. The music industry cooled off on hyping personas, and the 90s provided a more focused energy to the performance rather than the performer. Enter the 90s love song. Now, most people listening to this episode all went through some form of listening to these songs. Remember those nights? The soundtrack to our all-night phone conversations, background music to our first slow dances, the rhythmic translator of our roller coaster of emotions. Every emotion was so amplified back then, and the acts piloting the aircraft of our sentimental journeys made every moment so lived in, attainable, and now continue to make it so nostalgic and vivid. That's what impactful emotional music does. Pop, R&B, punk, metal, new wave, even grunge, all the big genres of the decade were all on deck to express their sappy submission. Intense, impassioned, soulful vocals, and over-the-top cloying lyrics. Sure, it's hilarious now, but back then we took that stuff seriously. These were the serenades in the car when you were parked at your local Sonic, shared experiences over the phone as you held your receiver way too close to the speaker. They were radio dedications and the mawkish 12 times folded love letters that concluded with quoted lyrics were all part of the love song of the 90s. The way 90s music made you feel in love may sound outdated by today's standards, but we took the time to focus our emotions, and we overlooked how certain singers of the era overpronounced their vowels, and how your best friend consistently dedicated the Goo Goo Dolls' Iris to his girlfriend of the same name. True story. Even though the song never says the name Iris. It didn't have to make sense. It just had to make you feel as if your emotions did. And that's what was so great about the love songs of this decade. This week, Formidable Opponents debates and discusses Best 90s Love Song. With me, as always, two guys who would always be willing to inexplicably remove their shirts while painting in a Bon Jovi video. Bob and Joseph, how are you guys doing?
Swear to God, if any one of you fuckers mentions Drop of Jupiter, I swear I'll leave this show right. I'm just kidding. That came out in 2001. What's up, guys? What's up? We're back for another great one today.
Hello, y'all.
So, guys, we're doing this show in celebration of the month. Valentine's Day is 10 days away.
It's Ballin with a B and an M, Ballentimes.
So we're doing this as a special episode. We're having a theme month this month. We're doing love songs, apology songs, breakup songs, etc. So we're starting off with a love song because, of course, the holiday requires it, and we're all in for celebrating Valentine's Day. So let's start off with, why did almost every band or artist of relevance of this era attempt to do a love song? What is it about the genre in the decade that made it so accessible and accepted?
I think that it started in the 80s, how all these hair bands started with the ballad, you know what I mean? They had, every hair band had their ballad. They had this great, we talked about Every Rose Has Its Thorn last week. I think that was a jumping off point for the bands in the 90s and these artists in the 90s. Like, love became a huge topic, especially it had to counteract the depressing grunge, you know, down on my luck sound that was going on at the time. A lot of bands said, well, no, we don't have to sing about like heartbreak and depression and loss. We can talk about love in this great way. So I think it was just that counterbalance to the grunge era, and it was just, you know, they piggybacked off of the 80s, that love song that everybody was so passionate about.
The 90s MTV music video scene was where everything really kicked off. Like, I know we had videos, like I know the 80s it was a great media, a lot of stupid videos. We've talked about this before. But the 90s, we started to see some like production in videos and effects, and I think that helped. And I think, like, when, I guess, if you wanted to write a song like this and actually kind of add to what Bob said, because it was such a money-making thing, so to speak, or something, I don't want to say easy to do, but, you know, something that's going to get people to buy your CDs at the time, or your cassette tapes, depending on what part of the 90s we're in. The added factor of media in a visual media, I think helped that, and that's great. So the guy, the R&B artist or the country artist, anybody that was writing some song where they, some, sexy love song, and they want to they want to show, not only do I want to write these songs, I want them to see me, and I want them to, I want them to see what so I think it just worked. It went hand in hand.
You guys make great points, because I think the 80s were the jumping off point of these types of songs, taking that route where the visuals were coming into effect and the video was as important as the song itself. I think a lot of it was inspired by movies too. I think when you watch like the John Hughes films of the 80s, the rising popularity and the new era of young stars, people like these romantic, I guess you could say, plot lines, and they like to see their singers in love. I think a lot of musicians grew up seeing this boy gets girl plotline flourish, and in popularity, it just kept on growing, and it translated into music. So I think good points all around. I think a lot of it was sort of a spillover from the prior decade that was really focusing on these romantic comedies and these romantic videos turning into these small movies. So guys, a few episodes ago, we did Sexiest 90s Song. What are the essentials that separate these two categories?
Sex, obviously. No. Do you want to start off, Joseph?
Sure. It's feelings, man. It's feelings. There's a difference. It's plain and simple. Look, I'm not knocking anybody, but you don't need to have feelings to have sex. And if you got a good, you got a good song.
He's a big fan of Nirvana and The Cure, folks.
If you got a good song to help you with that, like we talked about in that episode, Sexiest 90s Songs, well, then that works. But these songs are, I think there's a difference. Obviously, that feelings, man. These are actual true feelings. I'm not saying you don't have feelings for, in the sexy songs too, but the most important thing about these songs is actual love. The feeling of actual love. Not making love.
Agree-ish, yeah. I mean, we talked about Boyz II Men, I'll make love to you on the floor. Yeah, that's definitely not about love. That's about they're trying to have a little fun. The lyrics make the biggest difference between a sexy song, you know what I mean? It's a song that, hey, we're going to have a little fun to get down to. And then a love song is a lot of times, a love song doesn't have to be like a positive thing either. There's a lot of songs that maybe in your honorable mention right now that maybe breakup songs, but they're about love, you know what I mean? So there is a big difference, I think, when comparing sexy song to a love song. I mean, I was going to talk about a Blurry song that came out in 2001 by, what's his name, Joseph?
Puddle of Mud?
Puddle of Mud. I'm sorry, Puddle of Mud. He sings the song Blurry. It's a love song, but it's a song about his love for his kid. So, when you read into the lyrics and you learn more about the song, you find that out. And I was like, that's a really great song. It's a love song, but it's about his kid. So there's different levels of love songs, breakup songs, love for a family member, or love for the love of your life, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, whatever, etc. And then sexy songs, well, that's usually is accompanied by some kind of sexy music video. I think that there's definitely a separation there.
The reason I asked this question is because I think there's a lot of crossover from those selections to ours, because of course it's all about interpretation, but I wanted to focus on extremes more than words, because I'm looking at the lyrics.
Read them, goddammit. Sing them to me.
I'm looking at a song like More Than Words by Extreme, and written by Extreme lead singer Gary Cherone and guitarist Nuno Betancourt. This song is about a guy who loves a girl and who knows she's in love with him too, but he wants her to show it by more than just saying, I love you. He's saying that if she would show him more affection and emotion, she wouldn't have to say she loves him, because he would already know. So don't tell me you love me, show me you love me is a common misinterpretation of the song. So More Than Words, is that a love song or is that a sex song? What do you guys say to that?
It's definitely a love song, man. It's definitely like he needs, this is a guy that has some, maybe he has some separation anxiety or something. He needs that affection. He wants that hug. He wants her to hold his hand, There's a lot. I think that has more to do with affection than it does sex. I definitely think it's more about love than it is sex. It's not a sexy song.
I hear it more as a love song. It's definitely, well, I mean, you could put on anything you want to play during, that portion of your relationship, but no.
But what about the Barney's opening theme song?
If it worked, I mean,
you said anything.
I'm not gonna talk. I'm not.
Joseph's the same guy who said you don't need feelings to have sex. You just need electrolytes. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's February, guys.
Nails.
It's February. Valentine's Day is upon us. any memorable or funny memories connected to love or these love songs that you can share. It doesn't have to be about yourself. It could be about something you witnessed, but is there a funny love song moment or experience that you may have had?
I don't think so. I'm sorry.
Joseph, it's Aerosmith, Joseph. Aerosmith.
Well, okay, but that's okay. Well, it's
not
not
our
my
story.
memory.
It's not our story.
It's not my story, but I was trying to like think of something for myself, but I'm usually alone on Valentine's Day, so
Valentine's.
But so no, I'm sorry, I can't. What about you, Rand or Bob? Randy's always got a funny story tied to a song or something.
Randy does. He's at the airport. It's like a fucking.
I mean, he's got something.
Yeah. I don't have a memory tied to a song, but I will say this: February, because we're celebrating the home month, and February is this year February is a leap year, so we have 29 days. And funny story, because we're talking about love, I'll talk about my love. I proposed to my wife on a leap year, February the 29th. I was studying for a test and I couldn't focus on it. I had brought the ring and I was going to have this whole big ordeal where I was going to propose to her and it was going to be super nice and super sweet. And she lived 45 minutes away and I couldn't focus on this final that I had, or this midterm that I was about to take. I couldn't focus on it. So I drove 45 minutes in the middle of the night, knocked on her apartment door and I proposed. And I just realized, like, shit, we can't celebrate this moment until every 4 years. And then the
smartest man I ever met in my life. How many anniversary gifts do you have to get? Nah, once every 4 years. Smart man.
One of the things I've noticed is that last dash for Valentine's Day gifts at the grocery store. You're really going to give your wife a bouquet of Hershey's chocolate bars, wearing cargo shorts and a Dallas Cowboy jersey? I don't know what happened to effort, but I don't know if you guys ever go to like your local grocery on Valentine's Day, like afternoon or before the day ends, and you see the swarm of married guys, and you can tell they're married because one look at them and you're like, yeah. But I think if you reach a point in your relationship where a practical gift is more important than a romantic gift, the new coffee maker will be around for a while. Is what I'm saying. So. I don't know. I think
not the flowers.
Not the flowers.
The flowers about you. They'll die in a week. Coffee maker's gonna be great, and we can turn it on from bed. It's Bluetooth.
We'd like to apologize to Randy's wife, Jess, for all the things that Randy has associated to
my wife.
Monumental moments in their relationship. Randy Savage. This one right here. Now knowing that every 4 years he can celebrate. I know there's another one that he told us, and I can't remember it right now. I know he's told us another story that that's associated to his wife, but we're sorry that he pins it. Well, maybe
thank you for wearing your heart on your sleeve, Randall.
He's got a good memory though. At least it's easy for him to remember such things.
For new listeners, first conversation I had with my wife, it was we met online, and when we met at the airport, I said this in a previous episode, but for those who haven't listened to it. She's like, we're sharing, hey, hello, nice to meet you. It's finally great to meet you in person. And I just asked her, did you know Randy Savage just died today? And that was like our opening conversation.
She's like, who?
But a great story. But yeah, I mean, Valentine's Day is important to a lot of people. A lot of over commercialism. It is what it is. But we won't get into that. So guys, let's go on to our honorable mentions. What are some of your honorable mentions for best 90s love song? We'll start off with you, Bob.
I have a few. I mean, some funny, some serious. STP, Stone Temple Pilots, still remains one of my favorite love songs. Oasis, Wonderwall, my wedding song. Great song. Tonic, If You Could Only See. Your favorite Rand, Dave Matthews, Crash Into Me. Shania Twain, Still the One. I mean, as much as that's not my style of music, great love song of the 90s. Another favorite of y'all's, Prince. Could You Be the Most Beautiful Girl in the World? Jeez. I think he was singing to himself, but I don't know. I love Prince. The Foo Fighters, Walking After You. Great song from that album. Going country here, a little George Strait, I Cross My Heart from Pure Country. Great love song if you wear a cowboy hat and tight jeans. Another one, Randy Travis, I'm Gonna Love You Forever, another great love song in the country genre. Jewel, You Were Meant for Me, and I Was Meant for You. Love that. I mean, love Jewel, love that song. Great song. Pretenders, I'll Stand By You. Yeah. I'll Stand By You. Won't let anybody hurt you. I love that song too. Since you mentioned it, we'll talk Goo Goo Dolls, Iris. Great song. And lastly, I'll mention Aerosmith, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Closely tied to one of our best friends singing it to his girlfriend one night. Said that story before, but yeah. What do you got, Joe?
Bush, Glycerine. I have a different Stone Temple Pilots song, a different love song, or however you want to take it. I got an Interstate love song, different Foo Fighter song, Everlong. Oddly enough, as great a song as it is, the lyrics are very, very sentimental and yes, very, very much so. So I consider it a love song. I got I Swear, of course, All for One. How can you not have I Swear? I have also I'll Be Your Crying Shoulder by Edwin McCain. I think somebody else sings that song too, or maybe they already did, or maybe he's not the one who wrote it, but I'm going to go with this one. Hold My Hand, Hootie and the Blowfish. I mean, it starts off with a little bit of love and some tenderness. I also have I Don't Want to Miss a Thing as well, of course, because it was just, it's, how could it's synonymous with our life now at this point. And I have Heart Shaped Box, different kind of love.
So for my selections for honorable mention, I think some of those songs that I don't know, I think we had some 80s mixed up in there and some of the, but anyway, we'll go on to mine. My honorable mentions, More Than Words by Extreme. I think it's a love song. I agree with you guys. Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. I had I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, which was...
I knew it. I told Joe yesterday, motherfucker's going to mention Whitney Houston. Guaranteed.
It is one of the best love songs. I'm surprised he didn't bring it,
but he's talked about it too much.
Yes, it's a great love song. I love that
see the
song.
way he lights up folks when he mentions Whitney Houston. Fucking, you see the shine, the gleam in his eye.
How could you not mention My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion? Kiss from a Rose by Seal.
I know you guys forgot about it. I'm sorry.
That's a great love song.
I forgot to, of course. My bad.
Good pick, right? Yeah, I'll stand by You by the Pretenders. Great song. When a Man Loves a Woman by Michael Bolton, which is a cover of a Percy Sledge classic. The original I think was better. Michael put some raisins in the potato salad, but the chorus saves him here. He just belts that shit out. I love it. Back at One, Brian McKnight. I have a quick funny story. We were driving one day and this song came on. This was like last week or 2 weeks ago. And the song came on. And I was starting to feel it. My wife changed the radio. Do you ever have somebody change the radio dial when you're really feeling the song? So she changed the radio station. I was super pissed because Back at One is it's a great song. Anyway, forget that. Okay. Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John? I have Dreaming of You by Selena. Joseph, I know you dated a few cholas. I know you would appreciate this song.
I can't believe he chose a song about singing about a cartoon lion. Jesus Christ.
That's the Way Love Goes, Janet Jackson. Right Here Waiting, Richard Marx, which was like a prom staple. Always by Bon Jovi. No Ordinary Love by Sade. Great mood music. All for One, I Swear. Agree with you, Joseph. I also agree with you on All Be by Edwin McCain. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, which was written by the terrifically talented Diane Warren. How Do I Live by Trisha Yearwood, her version. You're Still the One by Shania Twain. Die Without You by PM Dawn, which was on the great Boomerang soundtrack. I think PM Dawn should have had a bigger career. I think a lot of people thought they were hokey hippies, but they were really good musicians. And then lastly, I'll round out with Have I Told You Lately by Rod Stewart. It's a remake of a classic, but something about Rod Stewart singing it like he gargled rubbing alcohol just makes it sound so romantic.
Ease my trouble. That's what you do.
So we're going to go on with our selections. Bob, what do you got for us? Best love song of the 90s.
There's a lot of different genres of music in the 90s, but I went the R&B route. I chose Casey and JoJo, All My Life. This is the greatest love song of the 90s. How close was his love? It was close to him like his mother, close to him like his father, close to him like his sister, close to him like his brother. That's fucking close, Joseph. That's how close the love was.
It's a little too close.
All my life, I prayed for someone like you. Talk about the greatest love line of the 90s. I prayed for someone like you, and I thank God that I finally found you. You know how many guys got laid in college by using this line? I mean, more than enough. More than enough. I mean, Casey and JoJo, you saved a lot of people, bro. We didn't know what to write in our Valentine's cards, and you saved the day, buddy. I applaud you all. You turned my life around. You picked me up when I was down. That's fucking love, Randall. What do you want from this guy? You can tell it's not just his love; it's his best friend. She's so close; she's already like a family member. It's it's love, and it's love in its truest sense. So I just this song just has amazing singers. The lyrics are impeccable. They're just like thought provoking and heartfelt. It's got a fucking orchestra in the background. There's a homie with his hair in a chongo playing an acoustic guitar. I mean, what the, like, more than words? What the fuck else could you ask for, man? It's got all the elements of a great love song. They even have like the high school 90s tuxedos. There's no ties, just a button at the top, and the scarf shit. Joseph still wears scarves when it gets cold. So I mean, you can't tell me that this isn't the greatest. I'm telling you, man. I'm agreeing with you, Joseph. This is the greatest love song of the 90s, man. You feel it when you hear the lyrics, and it's all about the lyrics. When you hear those lyrics and you sing along with it, you know that this guy is totally in love with this woman, and it's you can feel it, man. So I this is the song. I couldn't think of any other song that was as passionate as this song was, and so I had to roll with it. So what do you guys think about it?
Epic piano intro. When that piano hits, it's going to be a hit. There's so many songs that you could tell by the first few notes that this song's going to skyrocket and be memorable. And All My Life by Casey and JoJo was one of them. Now, I think it's a very good song. I think as far as love songs go, I think there are a lot more that are better than it, but I'm going to give it its due diligence, and I'm going to give it its credit, and I'm going to give it its flowers, because it is a good, talented song.
Don't say flowers, please. I'm sorry. I hate that phrase.
Well, I'm going to give them their flowers, Joseph. Okay.
It's Valentine's Day. You got to give out flowers, Joseph.
Best part of this song, there's a woman at the 46-second mark of the music video who is drop dead gorgeous. She pops up periodically throughout the video.
Thank you. Sorry.
Do you guys know what girl what woman I'm talking? Do you guys know what woman I'm talking about?
Yeah, she has colored eyes, right?
She has colored eyes. Yeah. She gets the scarf, and I think so. She's so remarkable.
I thought it was an actress. We were watching this the other day. I was like, I thought it was an actress, but I couldn't find out who it was. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's good. And that's the point. I don't know who that is. And so I'm going to call out Joe Michael, who found out the name of the woman who was cheated on In the Lips of an Angel video by Hinder. So Joe Michael, if you're out there, find out who this woman is in the Casey and JoJo.
And send me
video.
pictures.
Yeah, but it was 30 years ago, so I don't know. This video gives the interpretation that this song is more about the kindred appreciation and deep all-purpose love of anything, any sort of relationship, more so than the strictly romantic love. And that's the only fault I find with this song as far as it being called one of the best love songs of the 90s. They show that too, but the lyrics were like, close to me like my mother, close to me like my father, close to me like my sister. I thank God. Look, I don't want any of these people mentioned on my mind when I'm alone with someone that I have a romantic interest in.
It's not a sexy song. It's a love song, man. They're not screwing.
A totally different direction from Casey and JoJo, who were founding members of the provocative R&B quartet Jodeci. These were the same guys who were air humping the stage to Freakin' You, and then they switched it around. All My Life was originally written as a vehicle for a female artist, but Casey and JoJo knew it would be a hit and kept it for themselves. Excellent move by the duo. I'm sure they were thinking, we're not going to let somebody like Jessica Simpson fuck up this song, a deeply personal song. Can you imagine Casey and JoJo sitting on the couch watching Jessica Simpson pet a horse and seduce a farm boy with a middle part in his hair while screwing up this song? No, they wanted to do it themselves. That was a great move. It was
watch that.
It was a great move. Give them their flowers, Joseph. Okay. It's a sweet ballad. I think it's a gentle, safe song. It's about love, but the vagueness about who the singers are targeting with this song, instead of showing parents with each other in the video, teachers, a woman helping out a homeless guy, all very sweet gestures. I wish they would have had a target object of affection, like maybe showcase that female in the music video as somebody one of the band members is dating and doing all these wonderful things for. The gorgeous woman again at the 46-second mark. Why isn't the entire song about her? Music videos were such a powerful element of storytelling and always gave us that mental visual of the song. I would remember her as the focus, not Casey and JoJo dressing up like they're going to go visit the Great Gatsby, but that woman was all about the video. It's a nice crossover pop hit, soulful, smooth, heartfelt. My last point, I don't ever seek this song when I'm in the mood for ballads, but I don't hate it. I don't hate that it makes the playlist, I should say. I can't talk tonight. It's kind of like when it's kind of like, I'm not even going to use that last analogy. But
NASA.
Well, I'll use it then. Okay. It's kind of like when you want a peanut butter sandwich and all you have is the heel pieces of the loaf of bread. And you're thankful that you at least have the heel pieces, but you want a non-heel slice because that really completes the sandwich.
Somebody grew up rich. Some of us didn't have the choice, Randall. We had to eat the heel piece. Bread is bread. That was our hot dog bun, hamburger bun, everything.
Should have kept that analogy out. But I think Casey and JoJo is a good heel sandwich, peanut butter sandwich. Am I making sense with this guy?
God damn it. Joseph's going to say, what the fuck are we talking about again?
What I'm saying is that I just don't seek it out. I think it's just okay. What do you think, Joseph?
It's called credit, first off, not flowers. Look, I understand its place in topics like this and in lists and publications and things like that. On the surface, it's a beautiful song about. I get more of the. I see it. Yes, it's a love song. It's a poem written by the individual to the person they're in love with, telling them that they're everything. You're basically you're all I need. I don't need anything else. I've never personally liked the song. I always, if it comes out on any list, all I need to hear is, and hey, great piano opening, intro. I know that's cool, but as soon as I hear it, I know to click to the next song. I see this.
What the fuck, Joseph?
I don't want to hear the song. I mean,
you make the same sound when you have your first sip of beer. Oh, after the piano.
True. That's true. I drink my first sip of beer and I go, ooh.
Yeah.
I make that noise a lot when I accidentally forget to put the hot water on in the shower in the morning. I step in and it's cold and ooh. But no, I mean, look, the only thing I would take away from this is like, I'm not going to the extent of what Randy said, but I do agree with okay, you feel like the individual is, you're so close to them and you feel like family. Well, then get married and that's great. You're very different from my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. Like that's a different.
You're close to them, like your mother.
It's Jesus different close. Anyway, but aside from all that. It is a beautifully written song, beautifully sung by two amazing
beautiful
vocalists.
men. Say they're beautiful.
Two beautifully vocal individuals, and it's I get its place. It's not my cup of tea. The only thing I take away from it is that closeness to the immediate family. Remove that, and it's a clear cut top tier, I guess, as far as love songs of the 90s.
Just want to ask one question: who hurt you all? Who hurt you all?
Too many people.
You with this pick. But I'll say this. The song is almost like gospel. It's very highly emotional.
I get that,
to the point where it's like,
oh, yeah.
And then when you see Casey and JoJo, they're both wearing sunglasses, I believe. There's no really eye contact.
They're hiding their tears.
They're moving their heads around a lot. They're not really intimate with the audience. It's all about like showcase, quick cuts to other couples doing their stuff. The homeless guy, the mother.
Can I mention something though?
The borderline wedding vows.
Yeah, I get it. It's like wedding vows.
But
cool.
That's fine.
We did pick best 90s love song, not best 90s love song video.
I get it. I get it. No, you're right about that. Yeah.
When we get into like your pick and your music video, well, it's gonna see like the video. The video, we'll get into that as much more too.
But it's also a decade where the video is such a tie-in with the songs. We also talked about it in the opening question that I think this is a better radio song than it is a video song. I get it. We're not talking about videos, but I do think that there was a missed opportunity to create something memorable. Like I said, the only thing I remember from this video is that extremely attractive woman at the 46-second mark that all of our,
By the way, when Randall doesn't have a Valentine's Day date in a few weeks, you'll know why, because he's mentioned the 40-second mark at least 4 or 5 fucking times.
My favorite number is 46. All right. So to the second, I got it to the second. I had to talk about it.
Around the 46 seconds 46 seconds, around Más o menos.
Anyway, so Joseph, we got you next. What is the best 90s love song?
I chose Fade Into You by Mazzy Star. Okay. I know this song has been discussed before because someone on this show, I won't say who, you got 2 guesses here. So I'm sure you know who it was. Picked this song as the sexiest song of the 90s.
Yes.
Right? Back on our Sexy 90s Songs episode. Now, I'm not denying the fact that if you and your partner find yourself setting the mood to a night, an afternoon, morning before work, 15-minute smoke break outside in the parking lot, whatever it may be, a moment of passion, that this song will definitely score you some points and hopefully set the pace for the motion of the ocean. But calling it the sexiest song of the 90s was wrong then, and it's wrong today. So this song is the best love song. That's LOVE, Randy.
I got it on my show notes. Okay, go ahead.
It's a beautifully sweet, emotional song about love, and unrequited love, but love nonetheless. I'll talk about the melody and tempo a bit. Probably one of the best pieces of music ever composed. It's extremely memorable after all this time. I'll try to get into that a little bit later. The melody cradles you from the beginning, like your prom date on the last dance of the night, slowly rocking you back and forth. You can't help but feel safe, comfy, cozy while you're listening to the song, especially if you have it playing in your headphones. You sink into it and you lose yourself. I have no doubt that this song can and probably has reached a new generation of teenagers and young 20-something-year-olds, but I'll speak more to the point of view of the Gen Xers like Ran and the Zillennials, as I like to refer to me and Bob. We all know when we first heard this song, and we all know how we felt about it. I heard it watching the great movie Angus, one of my favorites. If you want to know more about that, go read the YouTube comments of this song. It's full of people telling the stories about how the song reminds them of first loves lost. Sadly, I read stories dedicated to loves no longer with us and how they will always remember that special meaning this song has for them, and that as long as they have this song, that person will never not be with them. That's fucking deep, man. I will say that. That's crazy. Like, I know I'm trying not to bring the mood down, but it is what it is. For most people, this song is remembered as a song about falling in love, possibly one of the greatest songs about falling in love. But like I mentioned in the beginning, it's actually an unrequited love. But that's okay. If you read the lyrics, you'll see that I do see it as a love song as well, and about wanting and longing for a deeper, emotional connection with somebody, only to, see that the love you want does not recognize you or see that clearly in the lyrics. I look to you and I see nothing. I look to you to see the truth. Later on, I think it's strange you never knew. I mean, it's fucking beautiful. I mean, I listen to some heavy stuff, but I'm here to tell you that the metal dude absolutely loves this song, appreciates this song, and thinks Hope Sandoval is an absolute poet. It has just as a personal note, a kind of a deeper meaning to me, because she, as you read, both of them, I can't. Randy, can you give me the guy's name? The composer, the guitar player. It's Hope Sandoval, and I can't. I'm sure you have the. That's okay. You'll get it. But I don't want to take anything away from him. A love song written by introverts. It's crazy, and it kind of it connects to me on that level. I think I've always kind of been introverted myself, and so to have this like song that kind of explains how introverts feel is pretty cool. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but I think it's long history and everlasting effect, and the emotions and memories that this song triggers, whether they're good, bad, or sad love stories, make this song one of the best love songs of the 90s. Not sexiest song, best love song, Ren. So what do you guys think?
Okay, so yes, I did pick it for sexiest love song of the 90s because the mood it sets. Of course, the lyrics are very direct. I will say this about Mazzy Star, tremendous band. A lot of us just know them from Fade Into You. They had some great songs. Look on Down, From the Bridge Into Dust, Quiet the Winter Harbor. Oh, yeah. Blue Light, 5-String Serenade, Hala. They have such a great catalog, but we were so fixated on Fade Into You, and Fade Into You might not have even been their best song, but it is the most notorious song. It is the most 90s song, and it takes us back. This song has a pull that just takes you back to the decade that I cannot explain. Like, if you were to tell me, give me 5 songs that explain the 90s indefinitely. I would have to pick this one as one of my top 5 songs that if you want to feel the 90s, you want to live in the 90s for 3 minutes, play Fade Into You, and that will tell you everything you have to say about the 90s. Yes. And Joseph, I was going to give you a lot more compliments, but you kind of shit on my pick from a few episodes ago. I already have my notes, so I got to just keep complimenting you and come back at you later.
You bring it on. I love it.
But it is a 90s time warp. You have to watch the live performance. The music video is great, and I know I'm mentioning music videos a lot, but the live performances of this song outweigh the music videos. Look, I'm over the 46-second woman from All My Life. Something about
imagine her again, folks. I'm just saying, imagine her
again. Something about Hope Sandoval. Something so beautifully 90s about her. Not just the way she dressed, but her mannerisms, her face, her stare, her shyness, her breathy and haunting voice. If I had to pick like one woman from the 90s to say like who's like your teen crush, it would have to be Hope Sandoval. I think bigger than Alicia Silverstone as far as representing the 90s. But like you said, Joseph, these were very introverted bandmates, and you didn't hear a lot about Hope Sandoval because A, the internet wasn't around when they hit it big with this song, and then B, they just didn't want to be out there in the public. She could have been a huge star, but that wasn't her style. She was all about the music. But damn, when you see her in a live performance, it is so mesmerizing. I was watching their performance on YouTube dated back October 2nd, 1994 at the Shoreline Amphitheater. And like I said, completely mesmerized. I felt like I was back in high school. I really wish I could relive that era again to better appreciate this song. I love this song. I think it's a solid selection for Best Love Song. But then again, I think it's about the want, about the obsession. And Joseph, you're you mentioned a lot about this being a song about unrequited love. And it's about reaching for something you couldn't obtain. But Hope Sandoval and company sound so powerful interpreting it. The beauty of it is in the heartbreak of the want. That's the sexiness of it, I think. And the unrequited love, not so much the mutualism of love. It doesn't necessarily disqualify the sleeper hit. I think it's a solid selection. It's a lovelorn anthem, but people love this song. It was licensed to more than 30 movies and TV shows. We mentioned Angus a lot, but there's 29 other TV shows and movies that also played this song. It's about heartache and longing, but to Joseph's defense, that is a part of love. It is a part of love. I get it. It's such an incredibly beautiful song to have playing when you're with this one person you deeply care about. And when you're alone wondering what this person is doing or who they're with, or you're thinking about them. It's an emotional, honest song. Those intertwined identities, that metaphysical experience. At the start, we were intentional on separating the differences between what's a sexy song and what's a love song. That's why I asked that question. The fact that this song made both shows goes to show you its impact and how incredibly tethered we are to this song as a generation. And Joseph, I just think you chose it because of Hope Sandoval, but I think we all think about it as a deep song because it was so different. It just sort of raptured a generation and sort of encapsulated a feeling. What do you think about it, Bob?
Only Randall thought this was a sexy song, so I just wanted to put that out there. Don't try to couple us into your thoughts.
It can set the mood. I give him that. I gave him that.
Yeah, I think let's Mancy Starr and Hope Sandoval, Fade Into You. She's just one of those lead singers. There's that innocence factor there. This is, to me, this is a high school love song. That first love song. I think that's the way it connects with me. When I hear the song, you mentioned that it was in over 20 some different TV shows and movies, but Angus is the one that still sticks in my mind. I guess you were just at the right age at the right time watching that movie, and that homecoming dance scene where he dances with a popular girl and this song's playing. There's that innocence, that first love kind of feel to it, man, and it's a great love song. That scene in particular, amazing. Like, it gives hope to like the everyman. You know what I mean? Way to be a dickhead, James Vanderbeek. By the way, you jerk. I really do dig this song. I wish that I could talk bad about it and give it knock it down a peg or two, Joseph. But it really is an amazing love song. It's very I don't know how to use the word, like delicate and innocent and it's really amazing. It's not negative, but the only thing I could say about it just reminds me of like that first love, high school love, very young love type of thing. As I'm older, if I hear that song, it doesn't remind me of love now. It may have reminded me of like a love back then, or like a first girlfriend or a first crush or that type of thing. That's what I think of when I hear the song. It's very high school and young to me, but it's a fantastic choice. Great song. Great. Hope Sandoval, amazing singer.
Attaboy, Bob. You're gonna have a good Thanksgiving. You're gonna have a good Valentine's.
I always have a good Thanksgiving, sir.
Before we move on, I don't want to not mention.
Don't want to miss a thing, huh?
I don't want to give. I don't want to forget. So Hope Sandoval, David Roback, the two.
David Roback. Yeah, let's give him his flowers. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Passed in 2020. But yeah, we talk about Hope Sandoval because she's the voice, she's the singer, and
that guitar though, that guitar, yes, that riff,
slide
that
guitar
sound in the background.
I could have gone into that whole fucking thing, but I didn't.
That's what I told her.
It's just yeah, man. I agree with before we move on. I was like, yeah, Randy, it really is. Like, I know people, like, we see a lot of shit online or on Instagram and these reels where they're just they're montages of great things from the 90s, and this song is playing over them. Great scenes from movies, great things, and it's yes, I know, like, at this point it's kind of it's a time machine listening to it now, taking you back to what we feel was a great time. I mean, I guess we feel that way because that's when we were young, but yeah, I think it's, like I said, man, it just has
so long ago
impact.
there was a point in time where people in the 90s, this was playing when people were making love in the background. They were playing Fade Into You. Now, as you get older, it's the theme. It's the end theme song from True Detective, because you're just trying to get it done and trying to get your 7 hours of sleep or whatever. But I mean, it's such a memory core song. I don't know anybody who dislikes this song. I don't know anybody who dislikes this song. I don't know if you guys know of anybody who would say this song is terrible.
Never. No, I think it's a great song, man. It's just a classic.
All right, so
such a beautiful song. Yeah, so we'll go on.
You won in high school, Joseph. You won in high school.
We'll go on with our last selection. That's me. And for best love song of the 90s, I selected Everything I Do It For You by the great Bryan Adams. The 14th highest selling single of all time, by the way. The only other love song that sold more singles that was listed in this episode was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. But let me tell you why I'm
there it goes. God damn it.
Bryan Adams, Everything I Do It For You. I almost changed my selection because I couldn't find the original music video. I need Bryan Adams in Sherwood Forest standing on the exact same spot where Maid Marian was marveling at Kevin Costner's stunt ass. The only video I found was a generic black and white concert video, so we're not going to talk about videos on this one, so we could escape that. By the way, Bryan Adams, guys, was in your neck of the woods yesterday. He was performing there, so kind of timely with this selection. Bryan Adams,
in a high school gym, ironically.
Bryan Adams knows the secret. He knows the secret to an effective love song. He knew it then, just like Michael Bolton knew it, just like Richard Marx knew it, just like Edwin McCain knew it, and just like how Ed Sheeran and Louis Capaldi know it now. The secret for being a singer for a great love song is to be an average looking guy. If you're too good looking, the song is about you, and people will say you're too good looking to pine and want, and you'll probably cheat. But if you're mild mannered, run of the mill, average looking guy, the song is about the object of your affection now. It's not about you. I think that's a secret. I think if you're just a mild mannered, everyday looking guy, the better the love song is. So, like, both of you guys can pull it off, too. There's something about that relatability, though. Most guys, like the ones I mentioned, have an innocuous quality to them. And when you blend that in with talent, that's what makes them more attractive and therefore makes for a stronger connection when you're experiencing the song. So back to its connection to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Most soundtrack songs of that era are forever associated with the movies. I'll give you some examples. Until I Hear It From You by the Gin Blossoms, you think of Empire Records. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, you think of Armageddon. Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, you think of City of Angels. Stay by Lisa Loeb, you think of Reality Bites, I feel that Everything I Do It For You is completely independent of the Robin Hood movie. Maybe because Kevin Costner is a shitty Robin Hood who couldn't pull off the accent. Maybe because there's no instruments in line with the film's era. You don't hear any lutes. You don't hear any mandolins. The song is 100% 90s. This love song doesn't need the movies. It's one of the most successful singles of all time, selling 3 million copies. It brought Bryan Adams to a massive adult contemporary audience. He was fairly successful doing the rock musician thing, but now he was mainstream because of this love song. So it completely catapulted his stardom, just like Kevin Costner catapulted Christian Slater in Robin Hood. Anyway, it's a straightforward love song. The first lyric, "Look into my eyes, you will see what you mean to me." So straightforward, so simple. The changeup, when he hits the changeup, it's amazing. There's no love like your love, and no other could give more love. Then Adams hits you the third time, and at the end, there's no indication of response or denial, but he'd fight for you. He'd lie for you, walk the wire for you. He would die for you. So he has those three big things in that song, that formula that makes it just such a deep and meaningful song. These are deep and meaningful lyrics about a person's relentless desire to show someone he loves them. And he's Canadian, so that makes him, lovable to begin with. So this song would be a hit today, and you can't argue that. Your two hit selections they're stuck in an era. I think both songs are good, but they're definitely stuck in that 90s era. This song would be a hit no matter what era. What do you guys think about this song?
Let me ask you a question, Rand. Right. What happens at 46 seconds of this music video? Okay, is your wife listening? Hopefully she's not, because I guarantee you can't tell me what happens. Okay, so Bryan Adams, I know you want to disassociate him with the movie Robin Hood, but that's all I think of. I think of Kevin Costner and Robin of the Hood when I hear this song. There's a direct connection with me. And I know you wanted that flaming arrow right through your chesticles, Rand, because you were so in love with Kevin Costner. How dare you talk bad about him, sir, by the way.
He
did
great.
a fine job. He didn't need an accent. Who needs an English accent? Isn't Robin Hood Men in Tights? God damn it. And for a motherfucker singing a love song, you think he would dress the part? Jesus Christ, is he going to fix his cousin's car in the driveway, or what the fuck? Is he gonna go on a date? A dirty shirt with baggy jeans and like dirty ass shoes? You're not gonna get any pussy looking like that. God damn it, you need to get your shit together, bro. Okay, so now going back to it, and I know you wanted to disassociate, but we're not going to talk about the music video. We're definitely talking about the music video because he doesn't look the part.
You're the one that didn't want to talk about the music video.
Yes, but since you brought it up, I'm bringing it up. So Casey and JoJo, they at least they looked the part for the thing. This guy, he looked. I don't know. It just doesn't fit the thing. Now, granted, he does have a good voice. He may even have a great voice. But you know who else had a sexy voice? And you mentioned him earlier. Sir Michael fucking Bolton had a voice. An American, not a Canadian, Randall. Okay? An American with hair flowing in the wind, the jawline, American. When a man loves a woman, that is a fucking man. That is a love song. When you want a sexy, soulful, that scratchiness, that smokiness in the voice, you look for Sir Michael Bolton, not Bryan fucking Adams, okay? So I just want to throw that out there. Now, all joking aside, it's a very great pick. It's a really good pick. Bryan Adams in this song, Bryan Adams is definitely the man. Heaven is another epic love song that he does. I do think that he does he does that voice thing a little too much. He can change his tone. You don't have to like he smoked a lot of cigarettes when he was in high school, and now he's like trying to get clean and sing. But I think that he look into your eye, baby. Okay, so this is a great pick, Rand. Like I said, I'm just throwing out jokes and shitting on it just to shit. But this is almost my pick. It's a great song, and I don't mind. I don't mind that it's associated with Robin Hood, because Robin Hood was such a huge blockbuster hit, and I know. And for some people, and I get that you say like this song didn't need the movie, sure, but it definitely benefited from the movie because, dude, Robin Hood it came out in 93 or 92, like that was such an amazing movie and such a summer blockbuster hit that it like skyrocketed this song because it was everywhere. Dude, the movie was everywhere, the previews were everywhere, the commercials were everywhere. This song definitely benefited from it. Did it need it? No, but did it benefit from it? For sure. Bryan Adams, though, is a great songwriter, an excellent singer, and this is a really, really great pick, man. I love a lot of his music. Joseph, does it make you think of Family Guy and Stewie singing it, though? That kind of that's a funny little scene, right? Go ahead, buddy. What do you think about it?
I can't hear this song without thinking about Stewie singing it as well. And his whole music video. That's Family Guy episode. Go look for it. Go check it out. It's funny. This is a very good selection. I will say that. a beautiful song written about for the individual, by the individual to the individual, expressing love, and it's great. It's got a good melody. It's fine. I'm not although I love Bob's joke about his voice. Doesn't bother me too much. He's got a great voice. Like I said, I like a lot of his other songs too. Cuts Like a Knife's one of my all-time favorites.
His voice or the song?
Run to You. No, the song.
I'm just fucking with you.
Run to You, a lot more.
Heaven's a great song too.
Yeah, Heaven's another great song
Heaven's
as well.
song,
I think Bob mentioned that right now. I know you. I don't want to go back to the whole Robin Hood thing. They're tied together. You're never gonna not think of Robin Hood when you hear this song. I understand it doesn't need it. I can see your point. Had the song been released as its own, not tied to the movie, not tied to the soundtrack, anything like that, sure, it would have succeeded. He's a big name on his own. Doesn't need the movie, but you're never gonna not think about the movie. It's never not gonna be associated with it. And like Bob said too, I agree. Definitely helped it because that was a great fucking movie. Whether or not he could speak with an English accent, it was great.
John Little or Little John?
In real life, I'm very big. You mentioned about my selection that it's a love song, but it's more about you touched on the fact that it is a love song. It's about longing and wanting. Although it's a love song, in Unrequited Love, I see that in this too. I do see the parts where it sounds like he's definitely writing a love poem or whatnot, telling the individual that they love him. But if you look into the lyrics itself, it's also kind of like there's a bit of pleading, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I see that too. I see what you said in my selection. There's no desire in this love. It's a love song nonetheless, but it's not purely just about being the feeling of love or the being. I see the longing in this too. With the whole look into my eyes, search your heart. Like see what I see. Like
please,
you
please believe me.
you bring on a great point, Joseph, because this song's like an evolution of a relationship. Because towards the end, he starts charging up with "There's no love like your love, and no other could give more love." So that's an experienced lyric. So I think this is like full circle. Mm-hmm. I'm falling in love with you, and now I'm in love with you, and now we're towards the end, and he's probably experiencing what life gave to him. This great love story,
and that probably adds to it. That probably helps you. It's a full circle. I can see that it's a full circle love song. Great. I think all like with Bob's selection, I only took one thing from Bob's selection as a negative, because I wouldn't compare the closeness to family members. It's a different closeness, but these are both songs that are definitely obviously well revered, and obviously they've earned their right on lists on this show and as your selections, because they're both very beautiful songs that tell maybe more, and I give your two choices a little more props over mine, because I don't know, maybe they just go more into detail of the feeling, whereas my selection, although I believe it's a beautiful song, beautifully written, the lyrics may be a little bit vague,
they're poetic, sir.
Yeah, a little more poetic. These two are more straightforward to the fact, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all, and that in itself makes them both great songs that tell from the perspective of the writer, telling the object of their affection, of their love, how they feel, and what they will do, what they'll be to that person. Great selections all around.
I know that Bryan Adams, when he played the concert down in the Rio Grande Valley, he played it like right on the border. Like he was down at an arena that's
the high school.
It was an arena close to the Mexican border. Yeah, and you know what? Nobody got shot. Nobody broke parole. He ended the concert with this song, so it tells you it like just brings people together. So I just want to say that. And by the way, he was wearing denim jeans or whatever but that is like dressing up in Canada. So, you can't fault him for what he wore in the music video. But yeah, great selections, guys. This was a fun topic. But now to wrap up, got two important things I want to ask you guys for. Really quick Super Bowl predictions. What do you guys think?
Oh, shit. I think San Francisco pulls it off and wins like 21-24. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a really close game.
Close game. I can see that. I can see San Francisco pulling off the win. I think they're going to have a tougher battle because I mean, shit, we just saw what was supposed to be one of the best, if not the best defenses. And sure, they held the Chiefs after the initial, what was it, a quarter and a half of,
great,
of just running down the field and scoring. They kept them from scoring, but the Chiefs still moved the ball. I know San Francisco's defense is not as highly ranked, or maybe not as looked at as what Baltimore was. So I think they're going to have their hands full. I am pulling for the Chiefs as a Mahomes fan, as a Texas Tech fan. Everything aside, I know that's not the popular pick, and everybody hates the Chiefs at this point, and that's not their fault, and it's nobody's fault. It's just people being fucking morons. But I'm going for the Chiefs, but I can see
because of the Nuggies.
I think the Nuggies. Yeah, I think San Francisco is going to shock the world in the end. Not shock the world. They're just going to, in the end, they're going to fucking steal it.
I think San Francisco wins this. I'll just say 31-27. I think Brock Purdy gets elevated to the next level. Now,
elevate me.
If he stays, he's going to be a free agent, right? This is a big. I think he's a free agent this year or next year. So this is a big. He was making jokes about how he was still living in his parents' basement, or I don't know what, but he's going to get paid now. Also,
they're going to be living in his basement.
He's deserving of it regardless.
Yes,
even if they don't win, the guy's good.
They're at a premium. I think Brock Purdy definitely gets paid. I will say this because I was looking at the prop bets, and people are putting prop bets on, like, how many cutaways to Taylor Swift. Like, who cares? It's 25 seconds of your life.
Give a fuck.
You're not even
let her celebrate.
Sure she's gonna be there. Like, Jesus Christ, she's a fan. She's there supporting her boyfriend.
I agree.
It's not her fault. Like, Jesus Christ.
I agree. Come on, if any of your wives are there and
we're getting that attention, like, you would be just, like, whatever.
Like, who cares? But I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. I hope it's a competitive one. Now, guys, to wrap up, we're going to talk about Carl Weathers. And just a couple of days ago, we lost a childhood hero, you could say, somebody who starred in many of our favorite movies and TV shows. And I want to spend a few minutes to just maybe share your memories of Carl Weathers, or some of the most memorable experiences watching him on TV and film that you'd like to share.
I think of Rocky, man. I think of Rocky 2 specifically. The opening to Rocky 2 after the Rocky 1, the split decision, and his character, he was just so good, dude. I was so I'd love Sylvester Stallone in the movie when I was a kid, and those movies used to fire me up. Being somewhat of a little bit of an athlete when I was younger, those movies used to fire me up. They still do. And Apollo Creed was such this mesmerizing character who I feel honestly stole the show. He was the show for Rocky 2. And man, Carl Weathers was just so good at that character, man. And he was such a believable heavyweight champion, and he just, for me, was just everything in that movie. And it's one of my favorite movies and series of all time. The Rocky series, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, and Rocky 4. Rocky 3 is okay. And then having him again play Chubbs in Happy Gilmore, one of the funniest movies from when we were teens, Joseph, playing a completely different character. And still loving this character, such a badass. You know what I mean? It's a big loss, man. We saw him and he was in The Mandalorian just recently, and he looked fantastic. He still looked good. Yeah, he had a little more white in his beard and his hair, but he looked so good. He looked like he was still in shape and everything like that. It's a big loss for me, because this is somebody I wouldn't call him a hero of mine growing up, but it's somebody I really looked to when I saw the movies. When I saw Rocky movies, I saw it for Apollo Creed. Adam Sandler again, Happy Gilmore. Adam Sandler's hilarious. Chubb stole the show. It's a big loss, man. It's a big loss.
100% agree. Yes, we're always going to remember him specifically for the Rocky movies. His character is Apollo Creed, but he was so much more than that. He had a very extensive career in film and TV. One of the things I'll appreciate, and they're so memorable, and so to this day, people still. It was the writing. Of course, it's the writing. He didn't write it, but it's his performance as Apollo, giving that speech to Rocky. People listen to that shit to this day. There is no tomorrow. They put that on to get themselves up in the morning, to get them moving if they're doing their workout, and that's him. That's his performance. It was fucking amazing. And of course, yes, like Bob mentioned, Chubbs Peterson, as quirky of a character as there ever will be, for such a mammoth human being who did action movies, played football, just a boxer as a to see him as Chubbs. It was lovely. It was great. And one of the I thought about it, because everybody talked about like, we lost Chubbs, of course we lost Apollo, we lost Chubbs. Those are the two main things that people mentioned. There's a scene in another Adam Sandler movie called Little Nicky where Chubbs is in heaven, and I immediately went to that. Like, and he's like, hey, he's like, it's time for your dance lessons, and they're like, oh, this is Chubbs. He used to be a golfer down on earth, but up here he's just the dopest dance instructor. So it's I immediately went to that. I was like, Chubbs is in heaven, man. I was a big fan of his performance in a show called there's a show called Chicago Justice. I'm really into the Chicago shows on NBC, Chicago Wednesday, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Chicago Med. There was a
You live in Texas, sir. Goddammit.
There was a fourth one called Chicago Justice. He played a character named State's Attorney Mark Jeffries, who had an appearance in Chicago PD, which carried over into their own show, Chicago Justice. I thought this was a great show. Unfortunately, they only did 13 episodes. He was part of that cast. He was one of the main roles, and I thought it was a great show because I love the rest of the series. And I was sad that ended the way it ended. But he reprised that role a few more times in the other show because these shows are connected in the Law and Order universe as well. It's this whole thing. I would have loved to have seen his character continued in the Creed movies in some way or another. Even if they had, it just would have been nice because he was such an awesome character. And I wish that he hadn't died in the movie because we could have kept seeing him be this incredible character named Apollo Creed, even if in some way or another. I know I'm talking about Creed a lot, but it's who I associate him with the most and who I have always been a fan of. And it's an extreme loss for the industry, for his family, for his friends. So many outpouring of individuals we posted some on our Instagram story. Yeah. Just one of the best, man.
I think the scene that you mentioned, that one of the scenes that really got to me that I saw this week after he passed away was when he's playing the piano and he's like, "Shut up, Happy. Don't worry, I'm good. I got my hand back." And he's playing We Only Just Begun, man, to live. That was just like, holy shit. That was a rough one, man. To still watch that.
More now.
It was so good. I mean, such a talented guy in that scene. I think that's the scene I'll probably remember. I mean, besides the Rocky scenes, like that scene, him playing the piano and singing, man, I thought that was pretty amazing.
And Joseph, don't ever apologize for talking about Creed, the character, the movies, or the band, okay? It's always welcome here.
Can you get me higher?
I will say this. Rocky was based on a real boxer, loosely based on a real boxer named Chuck Wepner. In 1975, he was a journeyman boxer who fought Muhammad Ali, which was supposed to be a gimme fight for Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was getting paid $1.5 million for the fight, Chuck Wepner $100,000. And I believe he had a day job and this was the first time he was able to focus his entire time preparing for a fight. And the famous story about it was that he knocked down Muhammad Ali in round 9, and he was 25 seconds away from lasting all 15 rounds. 15 rounds used to be the norm back then. Now they've shortened it to 12 rounds. So Sylvester Stallone was inspired to write the Rocky movie based on the Chuck Wepner incident, or the Chuck Wepner story, I should say, or against Ali. Stallone needed somebody to play somebody who was as big of a personality with the charisma of Muhammad Ali. You can't do that, especially back in the 70s where, actors were doing these very focused roles on a lot of wars and a lot of, crazy things that were going on in the 70s. And here was Stallone making the ultimate sports movie. So a little fun trivia is when Carl Weathers auditioned for Apollo Creed, he was criticizing Sylvester Stallone's acting. He's like, "Who is this guy?" And I don't know if he knew he was the writer or whatever, but he was criticizing Stallone, like for real. It wasn't in character. And Stallone said, "That's the guy I need in the movie. I need a guy that hates me." And that's why he was cast. And the guy, Carl Weathers, could do anything. I mean, he was a tremendous athlete. He played a season in the NFL with the Raiders. He played Canadian football. The guy could do anything. He could do drama. He could do sports. He could do comedy. He could do action. I'm sure he was as happy with his career, but nowadays you get a role like Apollo Creed. Most actors who get that role, they're launched into another stratosphere and running with that trajectory. Weathers made some interesting career decisions. I think if he would have played Apollo Creed, 20 or 30 years later, of course, going back in a time machine at a young age, he would have been one of our most important actors of all time. But he gave us some important movies: the Rocky series, Predator, Action Jackson, your nickname in high school, Joseph, Happy Gilmore, The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian, and Arrested Development for television. It was just always good to see him. Like, I didn't know he was going to be on The Mandalorian, and when I saw him, I immediately thought, "Hey, it's Apollo Creed." It's
Arrested Development too. I was like, "Hey,
Arrested Development." He was very funny.
Very funny, asking for food, right?
One thing I want to point out, and he doesn't get enough credit for, is he's 100% on the 80s actor with a mustache Mount Rushmore. I have Tom Selleck, Burt Reynolds, Sam Elliott, and I would put Carl Weathers number 4 on that 80s mustache Rushmore, but he didn't get enough credit for that. But he will be missed. Just had a tremendous charisma. The guy was just always so physically chiseled.
Yeah, dude.
And you didn't see a lot of that in the 70s. You saw it a lot in the 80s, but that guy, that was like the body type everybody was aspiring to get when they saw him and Stallone running the beach or boxing in the first 2 Rockies. I mean, just an incredible loss. It seems like anybody who's worked with him had nothing but great things to say about him. Seemed like a warm guy, loved his sons, and we're going to miss Carl Weathers.
We all have, I'm sure, like, he had his moments. We all do. But he never let any of that show. So whenever he was out, when we saw him on TV, or showing up to, events or being interviewed, he just always seemed happy. Always a smile on his face. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're nobody's immune to a bad time, but he never let you see it. He always showed up, and we always saw him smiling and having a good time. That's how we always remember him.
Just a great actor from our childhood and from our adulthood. He had a long-spanning career, so we will miss him. Guys, just to wrap it up, any recommendations you'd like to make that you've been watching or something you'd like to recommend to the audience? I got one thing, but if you guys want to kick it off, go ahead.
We saw the first and second season of After Party. It was really good. Stupid and funny, and if you're just looking for something that's entertaining. I always think of that. There's another show on, I forget the name of it, dude. It's where I'll think of the name and I'll mention the next story. But Apple TV is really hitting on all cylinders, man. Check that out. They have a lot of great shows on there.
I recently saw the Ted series on Peacock.
The first episode, yeah.
I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was very funny, just as funny as the first movie. The second movie wasn't as funny, but the series itself it takes place in the 90s, so it's obviously a great throwback to the things going on when we were growing up. And it was very funny. I very much enjoyed it. I also, this is just for, those Marvel, if you're a Marvel fan, if you're up to date with everything. I'm not completely up to date, but I started watching the Echo series and I'm very much enjoying it. I was telling Bob about it the other day. I feel like Leo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because a lot of the cast of one of my most recent new favorite shows, Reservation Dogs, is in this show, so they keep coming out on the screen and I keep doing the one to the screen when I see them. So it's also been a very good show too. So I'm watching Ted. I think it's funny. I think it's great if you enjoyed the movie. And Echo, even if you're not too familiar with what's going on, I think it's a great show.
2 quick suggestions before we wrap up. Love on the Spectrum on Netflix. What a great series. If you want to see just some great people going out there and finding love, please check out Love on the Spectrum. I can't say enough good things about it. It's just so sweet and very endearing. Check it out if you haven't. And lastly, I want to mention Greatest Night of Pop, the documentary about the We Are the World song and music video. We finally got an explanation as to why Bob Dylan wasn't singing along with the choir. They gave people instructions who cannot hit those high registers not to sing, just to sort of stand around. So he wasn't being lazy. He wasn't high. He just was doing.
Oh, he was high. He was high.
But I mean, it was such a great insight on one. And I know you guys, I don't think were even born when the song was released. It was 1985. So yeah, the year you were born. Such an important moment in pop where you saw this showcase of the biggest artists of the decade coming together for this important event.
Michael Jackson hated Huey Lewis, but
Michael Jackson, wrote this song with Lionel Richie. Michael Jackson wrote most of it, and just the genius level of him and Stevie Wonder and Lionel Richie are showcased in this documentary. They talk about Huey Lewis not being able to hit the note and how nervous he was. Prince was supposed to sing that line. That line was for Prince, but Prince decided he didn't want to do it, and just some great things.
Oh, the name of the show is The Big Door Prize on Apple TV. That was a good show. We saw that a couple of weeks ago.
The Big Door
Big
Prize.
Door Prize. It's a good one, man. Trippy.
Check out Greatest Night of Pop, though. It's a quick documentary. But guys, thank you for a great conversation. That's our show, everyone. Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up and let us know what you think the best 90s love song is. Most importantly, let us know what you think about the show. You may reach us at formidableopponents@gmail.com and follow us on all forms of social media by searching for Formidable Opponents. We want to thank Creative Little Pill for her great artwork. Please follow her on Instagram at Creative Little Pill. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on any podcast platform you're listening to us on. And join us next episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're taking the week off for the Super Bowl. We're not playing or anything. We just want to watch it. We'll be back with best apology songs. So for Bob and Joseph, this is Randall. We'll see you next week.
Everything I do.
I do it for you.
Thanks.